Quick update. Here is a scale model that can run on 8 GB VRAM. The advantage of this model compared to WAN Animate is more accurate pose transfer. The disadvantage is facial expression quality. It highly relies on the first reference image, which can cause glitches in character appearance swapping when characters overlap or switch positions depending on the reference image provided. Both single character and multi-character setups can be done with this workflow. Before I get into the video, I need to point out one bug and one error that caused me a lot of trouble while building this workflow, as well as the OOM errors some of my audience encountered, which I personally cannot reproduce. Issue 1. When I dragged my saved workflow into an older version of ComfyUI, it triggered an error. Even after updating to the latest version, the issue did not go away. The problem was only solved after I reinstalled ComfyUI version 0.5.1. So if you encounter this error, please be careful and try a clean reinstall. Issue 2. Some users experienced OOM errors, even though they followed my 8 GB VRAM workflow exactly. The only solution that worked for them was switching the text encoder loader to load clip GGUF, using the default clip text encoder, and using the default K sampler. After that, it worked. This is not something I can fix because I cannot reproduce the bug myself. For reference, even though I'm using an RTX 5090, I restricted my VRAM usage to 8 GB only. One of my viewers also tested this workflow on 8 GB VRAM and it worked, but it was unstable. Sometimes it would crash. Because of that, I recommend dropping the GGUF model to Q2 instead of Q3KS, which is what I'm using in the workflow. So again, the workflow works on my 8 GB VRAM, but that does not mean it'll work for everyone. If you encounter the errors I mentioned, it's totally fine to not use this workflow. This workflow is very similar to WAN Animate, so I won't repeat the same explanations. I'll only focus on what's different or extra. I'm still using the same base model as WAN Animate, but I've switched it to this Scale Preview model. I've placed the download link on the side. Just follow it if you want to try it. The only folder you need to create manually is the ONNX loader folder. You'll need to download vitpose and YOLO and place them inside a folder named Detection. The NLAI model will download automatically on the first run, so no worries about that. For your information, you don't need to understand how every node works. You only need to know how to upload your reference video, how to load an image that matches the first frame of the video. You can do this using Flux Context, Qwen Image Edit, or Nano Banana. Make sure the image is resized to 480p. Some people say it must be resized to a multiple of 16 or 32, but I honestly doubt that. I've tried other sizes and didn't encounter any errors. Feel free to explore this yourself. The most important part of this workflow is multi-character generation. You might see other YouTubers using a node that controls the number of detected characters. However, I found that you can simply disconnect the ref-dwpose node and it will work automatically. Since single character results are too easy, I'll show you a 2-character comparison versus WAN Animate and then a 5-character video just by removing the ref-dwpose. In this example, the reference video has 2 characters, but I only provided one reference image and I did not disconnect ref-dwpose. Here is the result. Now I provide a reference image with 2 people, but the image does not match the first frame of the video. I still did not disconnect ref-dwpose. Here is the result. Now, after disconnecting ref-dwpose, you can clearly see the difference. This is just to show you that even with a bad reference image, the model can still produce decent results. Compared to WAN Animate, you can see that the pose alignment is much closer to the reference video. Now let's try 5 characters in one video. This time, I'll match the reference image with the first frame of the video. According to our plan, we disconnect ref DW pose, and here is the result. You can also see my VRAM usage on the side. Initial VRAM usage is around 4.5 gigabytes. Peak usage goes up to 8 to 9 gigabytes. Conclusion: I still recommend 12 gigabytes of VRAM for stability, but theoretically, 8 gigabytes of VRAM can run this workflow. That's it for this video. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll see you in the next video.